First of all, thank you very much for everybody here. Welcome to this webinar organized by IQA. Welcome the speakers. And we hope to have a good time to discuss a little bit about the trends in the automotive quality, not only in Brazil, but worldwide. Let me say some words regarding IQA first. IQA is a non-profit organization. We were founded in 1995 by the main automotive entities, headed by ANFAVEA, which is the Vehicle Manufacturers Association, and Sindipesas, Auto Part Industry Association, and other entities from the automotive industry. Our main purpose is to promote quality, competitiveness, sustainability in the automotive universe, also add value to the society and make proud our people and our entities partners. Okay, thank you very much. I'd like to say something regarding this topic we are going to discuss. The topic is trends for automotive quality. We have been faced with a scenario of rapid changes, many innovations and disruptions, new technologies, new challenges like electrification, hybrid vehicles, etc. And many changes for quality related subjects, yes? Quality systems, professional competences, business model, and so on. So what should we expect to do, yeah, with these new challenges and technologies and innovations? What should we have to prepare, to learn, to think about, to implement a new system, and so on? So you have a chance here to speak about these topics. And we have here some persons, expert persons in the automotive industry. We have a very, very special guest today, Mr. Thomas Junggeburth from GAD Europe. He's also an instructor from VDA QMC for quality matters. Mr. Roberto Lotz, representing Volkswagen Trucks and Buses. Emílio Paganoni, representing BMW, and myself, Sérgio Kina, representing IQA. So I'd like to ask to our speakers to do the presentation. Yeah, maybe starting with Thomas, if you can present yourself, Thomas, please.
Yes, thank you very much for the chance to present myself. So as Sergio says, I'm a long time in the automotive industry. I have spent nearly 25 years at BMW, having been the representative on VDA, and also since 1999 till I'm leaving the company in 2013, I was the representative also in the IATF, first with trainings on the third-party auditors and qualifications on that, and later on also holding the chair of IATF and bringing our interests in it, and talking about our development of the automotive system standards. So I did that for several years. Within the organization BMW, I did a lot of jobs in production, in quality, in supplier management, and also in marketing and sales. I'm very proud on one project that I have done in sales, where we see that when we do quality management system and establishing that, we could also increase the earnings before income tax by 1.5%. That was very successful to show that quality also earns money, and that is an important thing in that case. Yeah, so that's a little bit about me. In the moment, I'm the CEO of the German Automotive Business Corporation, the GAP Europe, GmbH, and we do trainings, audits, services, all about the quality issues that we have, and mainly support the development of supply chain. So especially in understanding the tools, using the tools, and at least using them in that way that it has an effective impact on the organization, and also maybe it can reduce the resources a little bit. So that's a little bit about me. Thank you very much for being here.
My name is Roberto Lotz. I worked at Volkswagen Group for 14 years, a long time. My last 12 years, from 2008 to 2020, I was abroad. I was 4 years in Volkswagen Group in Germany, in Wolfsburg, our headquarters. And later I was 8 years in Volkswagen Group of China, in Beijing. I was responsible for supplier audit, suppliers development. I returned to Brazil 3 years ago, around about 3 years ago, and I was invited from Volkswagen Trucks and Bus, our factory in Resende, Rio de Janeiro, and I worked for the development of suppliers. This is now my currently duty. And also I'm member for EQA.
Thank you, Sérgio. Thank you, guys. Good to be here together with this very experienced people here. And thank you, IQA. My name is Emílio Paganoni. I'm 29 years in the local industry in the Brazilian automotive business on the product development and also on training area. And I've been in BMW since 2014. I'm the head of training for the BMW Mini and Motorrad on the technical, non-technical, and commercial training areas. So we have a huge, I was talking about Thomas earlier on, and Roberto's and the team here, and we have a huge challenge in front of us, talking about electrification, talking about digitalization, talking about connectivity on the cars, talking about the cars as a center of service to the people, to the users. And then I think it's a disruption we are facing right now in the auto industry. When we talk about these whole changes that is coming in front of us. So I pass inside of BMW, we are facing these new endeavors. We are working with electrification, we are working with connectivity, we are working with a lot of softwares inside of products, and we need to translate this to security mode to the customers and show them the clarity and to the suppliers, and guaranteed adaptations in countries like Brazil, guaranteed adaptations from the Germany to Brazil, and so on. So I'm here to help, to add some knowledge to these excellent heads here with us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Emílio. Thank you again for the speakers for this introduction. Thank you for the audience that are with us this morning. And now we can start this chat, this conversation about the trends of automotive quality. Yeah, we have some questions prepared to Thomas as our main expert in automotive quality. And we hope we can discuss a little bit and learn about something new from you, Thomas.
Thomas, let me start. Sorry, Sérgio, you finish?
Yes, sorry.
Yes, okay. Yes, okay,
just
sorry.
To clarify the process of this chart, we'll have some questions to Thomas, and there will be integration between me, Emílio, and Roberto for the next minutes. And for the last 15 minutes, we can open the questions to the external participants, and we'll do the maximum to reply these questions adequately. Okay? If you agree, we can start,
Why this question? When we see the quality history in the lifetime, we see that we start with quality control. You remember in the past was quality control, 100% inspection, 200% inspection, to really make sure that the cars or the parts have quality. Later, we changed to quality assurance. Quality assurance was the trust in the process, trust in the suppliers for a good quality. Yes, many companies later go to quality advanced. That means prevention of failures, prevention of problems. Okay, working advanced to avoid quality problems and make the customer satisfaction. We talk about total quality management. Was really very famous, this nomenclature in USA, for example, worldwide. And today we have a new reality. We have a reality with software, with digital things. Then what is the future name of quality? Quality 4.0, quality 5.0, new quality, smart quality. What do you think about this? What is the future really of quality?
So for me, the term smart quality is the best, which nails it at the best. Because we have to rethink our approaches on quality. We have several topics which we're not covering really good in the moment. That is, on one thing, the challenge is on the maturity level of software itself. I don't talk about the organizational processes. I talk really about the software here and the features of the software. I think we should strengthen the approach for preventive actions. I think it's still not so implemented in a perfectly manner as we all normally expect it, especially when we talk about testings, especially when we talk about design of experiments. So using the tools really intensively, doing the validation activities really complete. And so this is still a challenge in my eyes, but I think we must go more in this direction, go a little bit away from focusing on certificates and standardizing of products, making standardizing the processes, making the processes agile. I learned that in the past when we talk about that, we must have a standard process, right? But it doesn't fit to all the situations, and it must be flexible. It must be broken down to the situations. It must allow that people come fastly together discussing things. I think that is what we can learn also when we now talk a lot with the software developers, how fast they go together. They just appoint a meeting in minutes and discuss things, and then later on they spread out again and work on it. I think this is surely something which we should consider when we talk about the quality management of the future. I personally don't like this topic, quality management. I personally like the topic that we have a management system for the organization. And I think also an important role is the leadership. So the managers, they understand this tool as their own tool. That is still a point that we have in several areas, that managers do not really touch this topic quality so far. I have had a very interesting experience when I did a training at a big OEM at BMW, for instance, and we have here also top managers sitting, and we talk about quality management, and one of the top managers says, "Thomas, what you tell me here is my daily work. That is what I'm daily doing. But 30 years ago, when I come into the role of a manager, nobody told me that. So I have to learn that all on my own. At the beginning, it should be also a point to say, hey, when we talk about quality, it's not a rocket science. What are the topics which we should consider when we do that? Yeah. So making it to a normal thing, but making it also flexible for the challenges that we have in the future. And that is surely we have more complex products, and we have a lot of things which we have to consider. We talked about that before, infrastructural things and something like that. I think smart quality will be a nice term, yeah, to make it smart.
Thomas, looks, we combine the word smart quality, but really in China, we start 5 years ago or 7 years ago with a department. In the name of this department in quality, was included in quality. What really quality, smart quality. That means all the points that we have, software, SPICE, TISAX, and OTA, electrification, so we put the right people in this department. Okay, I think for me was really a good point, a good answer for you. Thank you.
I was hearing from you, and one of the key points is digitalization goes much more faster than the auto industry.
Absolutely.
The digital industry goes much more faster than the auto industry. So at the end of the day, you need to calibrate. So when you talk about quality, you need to be maybe smart, you need to be fast, you need to be flexible. Because you're working, as we mentioned early on, we are working in things external to the cars. That depends on the environment. Sometimes you are working the platform inside of the platform. As an example, the Android Auto, the Apple CarPlay, you have all the systems embedded in the car that we produce, we develop, we have the standards, we have the quality standards and so on. And even though you need to have the Apple CarPlay, so as a third party coming and putting a new platform there, because the agility of the digital world is too much when you talk about digital versus auto industry.
Absolutely. And they have a really high speed in the digitalization. You see that when you switch on your computer, you get every time updates, you get every time changes. You have always, also as a user, so as a car user, as a customer, you have to learn all the time. And we have so much features that are working together. So if somebody has an Apple phone or a Samsung phone, he wants to have connectivity with the car. That are really extremely challenges where we have so far not really good answers. And I think in the moment, we have done in Southeast Asia some special audits where we really face all these things new. So we do a software audit, really a software audit, going also on the features of the software, not on the process. We see also that typically the project management also will be changed dramatically, because we will not have defined frequencies on milestones or something like that. It must be all more iterative, short, let's say, short frequencies, using also more what the pandemic is teaching us, these tools that we also use today here. I think that is also not so implemented as we do that in our daily business. So it changed a lot. And also the understanding of new technologies is a big challenge. Battery factories are completely different to hard parts in the automotive industry. So this is surely an interesting area to work on, and it is surely very, very fast, the whole thing. So that means with our standard approaches that we have learned over over the ISO implementation and all these kind of things. I think that was a good answer for the last 20 years. But now we have to redesign that, really redesign that. And I'm not sure that that this approach is still working. I think we have really flexible teams on subjects. So if somebody has a subject, he can then at least call in others which are interested in that subject. Doesn't matter where they are and in which department they are. Just subject-driven working on quality issues, that is my perspective where the future goes in.
It would be great because we are talking about for example, the remote software upgrade in the cars. Absolutely. So how to guarantee the quality on the software upgrades by remote or by the air, over the air. So at the end of the day, you're completely right, Thomas. Thanks for the answer.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
And we have then other things like cyber attacks, and this is just coming to that as an additional point. And I think we are, we sometimes do not consider all the risks that we have there.
You're right.
Yes, Thomas, we have another point, I think, very important. You remember now, or many people here can remember, in the past 15 years ago, 14 years ago, when we start a career in automotive industry, we go to engineering. It was very clear. You are a mechanical engineering, chemical engineering, and then you start a career also in the quality assurance.
Yeah.
What advice you give now for the people that we start now, the young people, our kids, because now the quality really changed a lot. With software, with digitalization, cybersecurity. What is really the advice that you can give to the new people? They start a career now. Also, we need to change. We need to find a new way, because I think we have many years to work. And what we can do now with this new quality change.
So, especially when you start with your studying and with your learning and expertise or something like that, I think the technical expertise is still an important thing. Understanding your daily business, your profession, a very, very important thing. But what I also do on universities when we talk with the students in this area, I think it's always a good choice to have an additional studying as an additional topic on quality, because you can use this topic really in a lot of industry sectors. And I think in the past we always trained them how to achieve a certificate. I think this is not the topic anymore. The topic is more to use the right quality tools for bringing forward the organization, and especially the processes where we have added value in, like development processes, like production processes, and really the use of quality tools and methods. And there is the core tools in the United States, but this is really just the basics, because you have really gone into depth to understand what is behind that. How can you find the right parameters for production areas? How can you define the right testing methods to really have a valid product development and a valid process development? I think that is surely the point. So if they want to study, and they should study at least the technology, is the profession. That is important. But additionally, they should always take some training, some seminars in quality, and then in that case, really on quality things, which offer them tools which they can use to support the assurance of the quality of development activities. I think that the future is really focused very, very strongly in preventive activities to avoid the problems that we have.
Yes, Thomas. And also one colleague here on participant make a good question. For example, we have people now, they are working, they have the job in quality assurance now. How we can prepare these people for this new challenge?
Yeah, so
because we not can change the people, no? We not can put new people and change the people that we have. Actually, what we can prepare these new people, or these people that we have for the new challenge.
Yeah, I think when we especially look at tools that we do since years, since 20, nearly 30 years, like the FEMA, and when we look at the FMEA, when we see how this is still not so perfect implemented in organizations, and we still have here some topics which we can do and which we can improve. That is surely a topic which we should also train and improve in that area. Yeah, that is surely one of the points which we have to face, the knowledge of really methods in the right sections, like testings and yeah, let's say also insurance and quality insurance in the automated production areas. Yeah, here we have sometimes camera systems in place. When you really investigate on them, they are not really valid in their results that they produce. So this is interesting. What we still have as open issues in the moment. Yeah. And for sure, quality will always be one point which is there, but it also changed maybe the roles of these people doing that. I'm thinking on quality managers in projects, which can at least support the development projects with the right tools. I'm thinking about let's say specialists on methods which are used in problem solving or also in development of new products and processes. So interactive teams also. So I'm thinking in that direction, and this will be surely the future which we have to face also in quality. Yeah. Not this, this standard processes anymore. So really being in a flexible organization, and that is surely a challenge also for quality.
Thank you very much, Thomas and Roberto.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Emílio, would you please ask just another question to Thomas?
So, Thomas, to ensure the whole of the people in this focus, besides of the automation and digitalization, how to, this is one of the things we face in the training area, Thomas. I myself, I deal with this multidisciplinary world. So we have a technician that must be must be oriented to this new multidisciplinary world, on the software, on the hardware, on the soft skills, on the technical skills, and so on. So what do you think about this? Because nowadays, you know that automation and digitalization is among of the major part of our cars in all the aspects, even though the communications among the cars and so on, the trends of the smart cities. So what do you see?
I see surely that a lot of jobs will be changed. I see that because of the automatization, because of digitalization. So, but change means for me not to lose the jobs. Yeah. They will be new and they will be more complex. I see that always when we talk about autonomous driving. So everybody's talking about that autonomous driving. And autonomous driving is a very complex situation. One of the most challenging things that a human can do. But we all did it. So we all did it. We all can do that. If you want to create an artificial intelligence for that, you will face a lot of problems. Yeah, I see that all the time when I have my car systems, which are helping me to be in line or something like that, or do braking situation or I personally, as a driver, will say this is not dangerous in the moment, but the system is reacting, maybe more preventive. But what I want to say is that still the human factor in the organization is a very important one. And it will be also for the future an important one. But we have to change our jobs. We have to change the tasks that we have. It will be more complex. And complex things is only possible with human brains. So with our brains, we can really solve really complex things. And therefore, whatever we do on automatization and also on autonomous things and software things, at least this is always a part of our own brain. Because we think it, and then it will be realistic. And so it will change a lot. I think when we talk about automatization, maintenance will be dramatically changed. Yeah. Also, technical services on cars will be a complete different thing. People must really develop themselves, surely, to keep track with the development, what goes on there. And that counts for everybody who has a standard job, but that counts also for us quality guys to be in line with this development in that case. Yeah.
We are talking about neologism here. We are talking about phygital. Digital is physical and digital, because the human factor is extremely important. So everything you said is, it's completely right. One of the things that we are facing right now in the training center here is that when we launch the car, like the iX, for example, it's full electric and all digital, and we are talking about a new technology called Shy technology. So less buttons, more intuitive, more gesture controls, more so on and so forth. So at the end of the day, when you train a technician, when you prepare quality guy, when you prepare a sales executive, or even after sales executive, they need to deal with the tangible stuff and also intangible stuff, the invisible ones. That creates more problems than the visible ones, you know? So at the end of the day, we eliminate the digital. So what we are talking here in the BMW right now, we are talking phygital. So we have a lot of digital, we have a lot of automation. We are talking about this transference, the responsibility transfers from the human factor to the digital factor in certain cases. But at the end of the day, the both must walk together, correct, Thomas?
Absolutely. Yeah, you must keep the speed of the development, and at least that changes a lot of jobs. But this is at least nothing new, because job changes all the time. But what I just see is that the speed is faster than in the past. So also when I start my job, I have to change, surely. But the changes, the iterative cycles are much faster in the moment. Yeah. So this is what is the challenge at the end. And and this is surely still a topic that we have to face. Yeah. And that means also when we let's say train people, when we educate people, when we start with the profession, we should always put topics in it. And therefore I love this quality issue, because it gives you an overview. It gives you a bright overview of that. That is also an interesting issue in that case. Yeah.
Appreciate your comment. Thank you.
Yeah. But I can still say that one of the success factors of an organization are the humans working in it. And that means, on the other hand, we must always, and I repeat here what Steve Jobs once say, why should the talents joining us? I think that is an important point, to select talents and get them, and to have new ideas, and to have really the possibilities to stay in the competition.
Thank you, Thomas. Let me check here a question from the participant also.
Yeah.
Maybe regarding this topic. Rodrigo Lemos said, what's your opinion about the relation between quality 4.0 and society 5.0?
I think a lot of things here are going in the direction of impact on society. So one topic is at least the supplier act that we face in the moment. We are keeping the human rights in the supply chain, but also all the things which are challenging the society will have, keeping in mind that is surely one of the topics that we have in this area. Yeah. So this is one important point. Yeah. I think also what we have discussed so far, cybersecurity, IT services, adjustments of cars to individual needs, that are surely topics which came up in the future. These are surely challenges that we have. We need more agility in our daily work, and that is surely a point. What other questions do we have here? I see also the chat here. So that was one question in this direction: how to train and prepare quality professionals for the new quality reality. I think understanding the basics of quality is important, but also be open-minded and try to adopt the tools that we have to really new challenges, because the tools that we have worked for the last 50 years, but I think for the future we have to adopt them.
Thank you, Thomas.
Yeah.
Now let me ask myself a question for you regarding quality certifications. We have the ISO 9001, IATF 16949, very known quality standards certification in the automotive chain. Mainly, it's a binding requirement from the OEM to their supply bases. And for example, ISO 9001 edition is 2015, 7 years ago. So we are facing with many rapid changes, innovations like electrification, cyber attacks, software. And what's your opinion regarding this impact on the quality standards? I don't know if there will be any becoming change or alignment for these quality standards, or some discussion. How do you align with these new movements, Thomas?
I remember when I was sitting in the IATF for BMW, it was, we talk about raising the bar and improving the quality management system, and do something in that direction. And I could remember that I once have also the discussions with our CEO about that, and in the times, and he has really a strong sentence, a strong statement he has. He says, Thomas, I expect normally that we reduce the recalls, that we reduce the problems that we have, that we reduce also the warranty issues. And now we have rolled out the IATF nearly everywhere. So nearly 80,000 organizations are now certified according to the standard, and still the problems are increasing. And this question is surely an important question. How can we maybe redesign that? And I personally say there are good content in ISO, there are good content in IATF, but I think we do not cover all the topics which are most important, relevant for that. So we should, at least in my eyes, try to have a redesign, a completely redesign of it, and to really face the challenges for the future. I think ISO is here a base, yes, sure, but the automotive industry must ask themselves the question: is the IATF way still the way which we should follow, or is it not strongly, a little bit old-fashioned, to try some new ways in that direction? You mentioned here Industry 4.0. I think in the IATF we have total maintenance in that total productive maintenance inside. But at least this is just a general requirement. Maybe here we can be more specific in that case. Cybersecurity, I think this is just mentioned in some contingency plans, but this is surely a point which is, let's say, just as a topic there, but there is no real basic things behind it. I think there is and services, I think this is still one of the poorest areas to have quality in these areas. And we once have done a project where we talk about brand behavior or something like that, especially in services, how to do that. And that is not only wearing a standardized clothes in services, that means also how really to have the attitudes of a brand inside of your behavior and how you really can do that. I think that goes far above that what is stated in the standards. And for this, I would strongly say we have to really rethink things. And sometimes we should start maybe on a blank sheet of paper again, and to see what are the challenges that we have in the moment, because also the IATF always starts based on the ISO. Yeah.
Okay, Thomas.
You're talking brand behavior, and it's important. The soft skills is important part of the business.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Attitude is everything. It's one of the key points that we are facing right now when we talk about the new products, the new endeavors we have, the new environment, and the new people, and these new responsibilities, quality responsibilities, of course.
But the attitude is really one of the most important things, and that should be authentic, and should really work it that way, and that is different, and that brings us always to another thing, and that is one challenge, Emilio, that we have in our mind when we do trainings and things. We say the difference between GAP and other training institutes is we want to develop talents. And
not only a really PowerPoint,
right? Right. To see, okay, because in the training situation you have the people sitting there, and you see who is really intended or inspired in that area, and who just say, okay, I will be here and I will take this because I need it for my job, and that's it. And this challenge is something which we also should do in training situations. And I think also the training situations have to change in that area. How we do that, having let's say flexible situations. When do I get the knowledge, and how do I get it? And the most important point is, do I get the knowledge in time when I need it?
But
in the moment.
Yeah, Thomas, you touch point in a very good, and let me just give it to the audience also. That's the reason why we build up our training center inside of Senai. Because you need transformation. Build up from the beginning, the education of the people inside of from the communities, and change the way that they think about auto industry, like a mechanical to mechatronical, you know. So at the end of the day, create a clear path for these new endeavors in terms of technology, shall I say?
Yeah, absolutely. And the car will be in the future more or less a smartphone.
That's it.
But it will carry you. That's the big difference.
One of these days we are talking about this, how we launched the new iX, the new electric car, and so on. We go start creating, and we talk about smart car.
Right.
Because it's like a big, it's you can create this correlation. It's like a big service center for you, not only a car that supports you.
Absolutely.
And it's for all the industry.
Yeah, and that is the same for, and Roberto has already said that it's the same for the topic quality.
That's
so we have to be really very flexible, and also in the position to say, hey, we throw all things, all style things overboard and rethink that completely new. Yeah, and how that fits to our organization. I think the approaches of the standards like ISO and so on are good. They bring us in the situation that we are. But I think to do the next step and to keep the speed with the development in the organizations, we have to create something really new. And I could strongly only recommend to create in these areas think tanks and discuss about that and find really good solutions for the future.
I have a question here, Thomas. It's from Raquel Cardoso. Let me try to summarize this question. We know Ishikawa diagram for root cause analysis and problem solving. It's a very old tool. Back from 40s. And his question is, do you know new tools for problem solving with best performance than these traditional ones like Ishikawa?
I think the combination is it. So when you do the Ishikawa, you can at least start with that. The Ishikawa at least will not bring you all the evidences that you need to really have a sustainable problem solving. So you need a combination with several things. So personally, when I do the Ishikawa and I see that the main topics are on machines and material, then the next step is to really go into design of experience. Because here you have hard facts, here you have parameters, you can go further in that direction. And when you start with things that you are having topics more on human side, on method sides, on environmental issues, then you are in a combination of hard and soft facts. And again, you need then, let's say, other strengths and weaknesses, which you then maybe go deeper inside. I think the Ishikawa is still a really great tool, which helps you to understand the circumstances of the problem, but to solve it really in detail, you need the combination with other things. Yeah, and I once invited Peter Scheinin. I do not know if you know him, but his father, Dorian Scheinin, is very, very famous on root cause analysis. And when I talk with Peter about problems and problem solving, I see, hey, this guy, whenever a problem occurs, he has a recommendation which method he uses. And at the end of our meeting, I told him, Peter, I need a USB connection to your brain, because all what's in your brain, that I need in that case. And I think it's too easy to say, hey, we have one standard tool that we can use for this situation. There are hundreds of tools available. What I always suggest is to create really specialists on several levels of problems, which are then supporting problem-solving issues if there really are complex situations. And this normally should then be should be then a kind of resources that we have available in organizations, which are really only focusing on these problem-solving things. Because when we train people for problem-solving, yeah, we can train them on the basics. That is one point. But really getting experience and having really competence in that means they have continuously use all these things and learnings out of that. And then they have experts in this area. At BMW, when we start with that, I know maybe 5 people who can really solve nearly every problem because they have the competence in that problem-solving tools. But they are available and we can use them normally whenever we need them. Yeah.
Yes. Also complement your answer. No? Also we have in the electronic industry, we have the VDA AOS, electrical overstress.
Overstress.
Right? Also this can help a lot all the supplier for the electronic industry. No? I think
absolutely.
You apply this in Europe, USA, worldwide. Now, in Brazil, we are starting now with EOS, yeah. But I think it's a good tool.
Yeah, it's a good tool, and you will see that here to have really in micro areas to understand what goes on. And when I discuss this thing with the head of this work group, I didn't remember his name, but he says one of our main problems is that we work in the automotive industry with consumer electronic.
Yes.
And our system in the car is not consumer electronic energy. It's high voltage, and this makes a problem. Yeah, consumer electronic is used because it's cheap. Yeah, and also the standard products there are interesting when you see all this chicken food that you can put on a control unit. These are standard things that you can use for that. And I think also there we have to rethink about that, how we do approval processes for that. When you go in the electronic industry and you do an approval process for these standard parts that they get from any dealers as a bulk material, there is no real approval process for that. So it is just take it or leave it. And in this case, with our approaches of PPAP or VDA2 going into this, I think that is the wrong direction. Here we need new approaches, really new approaches which fits to this industry sector. Electrical overstress is surely one very good method to understand the problem which occurs. But I'm always in the direction to say, hey, how can we be more preventive? So that the problem's not really occurring, so that we see what happens there. And I think also here we have to do something which should at least work in this direction. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Maybe this is the last question for you, because our time is limited. We passed 1 hour webinar, but let me try to do this last question for you. You talk about something about VDA and AIG a little bit. And can you tell us if there is or if there are some subjects in development by these organizations of quality? And how can IQA support the local Brazilian automotive sector? Yeah? What do you think about these two matters?
I would say that I'm observing this situation between AIG and VDA now for good 20 years, nearly 25 years now. There is always some restrictions between these two associations. In VDA, you often hear the situation that AIG standards are not really good. The same you hear on the AIG side, a little bit in that area, and there is a lot of criticism of these standards and so on. What happens not so really good is that we take the books and use them, because both books of both sides of the Atlantic are really good books, and we can bring them together and can work on that. I think for the AIG and VDA, it is always very difficult to create work groups which really go in this direction. I think a good proposal can be that IQA, maybe as a local organization in Brazil, maybe with other organizations like us, GAP in Mexico and in North America, that we together really think about that and recreate some things new and develop them, which at least also consider the requirements which are there in standardized books, and really go in that direction to have solutions which are there. Yeah, I remember that very well when we talk about in 1999, we talked about in the IATF, couldn't we at least create one FEMA approach worldwide? That was in 1999. In 2015, we have the homologization of the FMEA, the blue and red book between AIG and VDA. So it takes nearly 16 years or 15 years to come to this job, to come to this situation. I think this is always the point with these big organizations. But we have talked about that several times here now. Flexible, fast, speed. That is the most important approaches that we need. And I think it would be a nice idea to create such think tanks in with IQA and maybe with the automotive industry there, which from Roberto and also from Emilio, to say, hey, how can we work on such things and create them, which are especially also fitting to the regional approaches that we have in South America. Is a different approach to Europe, I think so, and also to China. I think that is surely a point where we consider these issues and how we can work on that. I think we can surely always take what VDA does and what AIG does and what they provide for us, but at least they do it always in the same way. They invite experienced colleagues out of the supply chain and out of the OEMs, and then they create a standard. Yeah, and this we can also do as an independent situation, to say, hey, we really have here forward-thinking approaches, EQR and also we as GAP can support you, to do that. I available and also willing to do this, Sergio.
Let me say that we have recently created a quality committee involving people, experts from OEMs and the supply chain. And one of the objectives of this committee is to discuss the challenges and difficulties in the automotive sector. Yeah, for example, we have many groups. Roberto Lotz is participating of this committee, Emílio also. And we are discussing, for example, challenges of implementation of core tools in this new digitalization era, for example. Implementation of customer-specific requirements, production restarting due to the pandemic situation or other, like plant movement or strikes and so on. Yeah. So maybe we are aligned with new movements, and maybe we can also invite you in some of this meeting to introduce new ideas to the committee in order to improve our objectives.
Yeah.
I don't know if Roberto or Emílio would like to point something out also regarding this matter.
I think it's a good idea, Sergio, because Thomas have this good impression from Europe, USA now, and can bring to us new points. This is very, very good. Good idea, in my opinion.
Sure. Thank you very much, Thomas, for your patience with our questions.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you for the invitation, Sergio.
Thank you, you all. I don't know if we have still time to ask something more. Some questions from the participants. Maybe our staff can support us in this matter. I would like to say your final words, Thomas, Roberto, Emílio, please.
Okay, then maybe I start a little bit. So that was a really good exchange for me. Also with the questions, I think that is really keep my brain automatically working, and I think that is exactly what we need also when we talk about quality and new approaches and new directions in that way. I think the standards that we have had in the past have brought us really in a good position, but maybe they are not useful for the future anymore. So we have to be more flexible and iterative. So this is what I see as the big challenges for the future. Yeah. So this is surely a point. Yeah. That is from my side. Thank you very much, Sergio, for the possibility to discuss that here and have this nice 1 hour spent with you on these topics.
Okay. For my side, thank you, Thomas, that we make this again. We was many times in Russia and in Germany, you remember, no? To implement quality. No? This is very nice to stay again with you. Thank you. Thank you for your participation.
On my side is thanks, Sergio. Thanks the opportunity of being here together with us, with you guys. And when we talk about quality, I'm not a quality expert. I'm a product development and training expert. But at the end of the day, what my collaboration here is to talk with you about and to be aware about these changes in the whole world and talk about the industry, the auto industry especially. I used to say to the guys here at the training center that we are passing in the same thing that we passed 100 years ago when we went from horses to a combustion engine.
Absolutely.
And now we are talking about electrification and all the question marks that comes along with electrification. And not only electrification, the hydrogen cells and so on and so forth. So it opens digitalization, Internet of Things, smart cities, V2G, the smart grids, energy grids, and then it came infrastructure, and then it came renewable power sources.
Right.
And at the end of the day, it's all this translates into good challenges that all the professionals here will have when talking about quality and assure the quality of this whole new things. So it's a good round of questionings. It's a very, very good round of ideas, and I appreciate the time with you guys.
Thank you very much.
I hope to get along soon. Okay. Thank you, guys.
It is a new revolution. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you again, Thomas, for your valuable contributions here. Also, Roberto and Emilio. Thank you very much for the audience, also for the participants. And stay safe, everybody. Have a nice day and see you next time, yeah?
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Take care. Take care. Thank you very much.